Today, I'd like to talk about gratitude and its effect on us and the stress that we have in our lives. Gratitude. I am grateful for chocolates. I love chocolate, especially milk chocolate. I love lobster. I am grateful for lobster and all kinds of foods that are too numerous to mention. I'm Italian, 100% Italian, and I am grateful for just about everything Italian. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my friends and my home. I'm grateful for the position that I have and the ability I have to reach people through my presentations in person and virtually. I'm so grateful for all of that and the effect that I can have on people through my words. But it's easy to be grateful for the good stuff, isn't it? I mean, when you have everything good going on, it is easy to be grateful. But when things are going badly, or even starting to go badly, and we get frustrated and impatient waiting for the success that we want or for things to change or be different, it's a little bit more difficult to be grateful, isn't it? But I want to share a couple of stories with you that helped change my mind and my attitude when it came to gratitude. And hopefully, it will also stick with you and help you look at gratitude in a different light. It helped me actually stop taking things so much for granted and start being a little bit more grateful for what I had, even when I thought I was being grateful, but I was taking things a little bit for granted. A few years back, a good friend of mine, one of my best friends in the world, her husband had had several strokes. And when he was in the hospital, I called her up one day and I said, I'm coming to visit you. She lived in New Hampshire. I lived in Florida. I said, I'm flying up there. I'm getting a car. I'll be at your house tonight. I didn't ask. We've been friends for almost 50 years now, or over 50 years, actually. And I knew it would be all right with her. But she said to me, well, Sandy, I don't think that Tom is really going to want to see people and have visitors in the hospital. I said, I'm not coming up there for him. I'm coming up there for you. So I'll bring my laptop, I'll bring all my work. And when you go to visit him in the hospital, I'll stay in the cafeteria where the food is that I'm very grateful for, right? I'll be happy as a clam to stay there, let you visit in privacy. And then when you come down, I'll be there. I'll be there at your house. I'll be there on the drive to and from, and I'll just be there to be with you so you don't have to be alone and go through this by yourself. In fact, years later, she told me that the impact it had on her was quite unexpected. And I am so grateful that I thought to just take the bull by the horns and go up there, because she said to me, Sandy, every time I left his room and I would walk down those stairs, you could see the cafeteria from the stairs. She said, and I would look over and there you would be on your laptop doing your work. And it just made me so happy that you were there, that I just loved walking down those stairs, looking over at the cafeteria and seeing you there. That made me more grateful than anything else that I had just said, I'm going to do this. So anyway, the night that I arrived at her home, though, I walked in the house, we greeted each other, everything was great, and I looked at the dining room floor. In fact, I walked into the dining room and I looked down, and there, right in the middle of the dining room floor, was a pair of socks. And I said to her, hey, what's up with the socks? And she said, well, Tom always leaves his socks on the floor, and I'm always having to get after him to pick up the socks, pick up the socks, pick up the socks. And she said, but what I wouldn't give if only he were here right now to throw the socks on the floor himself. So I did it in his absence. Wow. That has stuck with me for years, because she took what could have been an annoying thing, something that could have caused an argument, and instead became grateful for even that quote unquote annoying thing. Because if it were happening, it would mean that her husband was still there, and she was grateful for every day she had with him. fast forward a few years to my life. My mom and dad had moved in with my husband and me because my dad had had several strokes and my mom just couldn't take care of everything on her own anymore. So they moved in with us. And in July of 2018, after 6 years of living with us, we lost my mom. 6 months later, we lost my dad. And in between, my husband was diagnosed with cancer. So within a 6-month time frame, I lost two of the people closest to me, and the third one was in question. Well, you know how sometimes when you have a husband or a wife or spouse, significant other, a parent, a child, a friend, anybody who is human and not perfect, you can get annoyed by things that they do occasionally. Well, my husband, shortly after all of this happened, he loves his Cheerios. And every single morning, he has a big bowl of Cheerios. He puts blueberries and strawberries and all kinds of things in the bowl so that by the time he gets to the milk, the bowl can't handle everything. And inevitably, one or two Cheerios pops out of the bowl onto the counter. And he doesn't always see that they've jumped out of the bowl. Well, I was cleaning up the Cheerios every day, coming out and finding them on the counter. But I thought about my friend Cindy. And instead of getting upset over having to clean up after my husband, I thought about that and said, oh, at least he's here to even pop the Cheerios out of the bowl for me right now. So one day I said to him, "You are so cute." He looked at me and he said, "I'm cute? Why is that?" And I said, "Because every day you have your Cheerios and there's always one Cheerio that's on the counter when you're done that you just don't see, and I pick it up and I throw it away." He says, "I'm sorry." And I said, No, I didn't say it for that. I just think it's cute. And I'm just thinking about Cindy and just glad that you're here, grateful that you're here to even do that. So he started cleaning up his Cheerios after that, and I didn't find any more on the counter until one day I sat down at my place on the breakfast bar, and there, right in the middle of my place, was a Cheerio. So I looked at Bruce and I said, "Okay, how in the world did a Cheerio get all the way over here into my place?" And he said, "Well, I thought you might miss it, so I put it there for you as a little gift from me." Oh, Bruce. I love him. See, didn't I tell you he was cute? But, this just really pointed out to me there are so many little, tiny, stupid things we can get annoyed with or get upset about, or we can choose to respond with humor and gratitude and say, thank goodness he is still here to drop his Cheerios or place them as a gift for me on the counter. I know that if the day ever came when he wasn't here to do that, I will be missing that. So I am grateful for every single day that I have him here to quote unquote annoy me, which doesn't happen very often anyway. But even if it were to happen, I would think twice. And I hope that my friend's story and my story help you think about the things in your life. Yes, you can be grateful. We go through all these holidays and birthdays and Thanksgiving here in the United States, and everyone usually goes around the table and says something they're grateful for in the past year. There are many times people just can't think of anything that they're grateful for, or they just can't think of it when put on the spot. But if we make it a habit to be grateful every single day for every tiny little silly thing that happens or doesn't happen, we will have plenty to talk about and think about every day, not just on birthdays and anniversaries and holidays. And when those times come around, we will be able to share more easily and more fully with everybody else what we're grateful for. So maybe we can inspire them to also be grateful for the tiny things, even for the things that could be annoying in their lives. So I hope this story sticks with you and helps you become less stressed and more grateful for everything you have in your life, good or bad.